Today's lesson, lesson 8 in chapter 3, which will be the final lesson in dealing with decimals, is divide decimals by decimals. Now, this entire chapter, we have been talking about this essential question. How can estimating be helpful? Okay, we have seen where estimating can be helpful with addition, with adding decimals, with subtracting decimals. It can be sometimes helpful when multiplying with decimals, and it also can be sometimes helpful when estimating with a dividing decimals. This essential question for this lesson is, when is it helpful to round the quotient to the nearest hundredth? Now, first off, let's look at the question. Quotient, it's asking you to round the quotient to the nearest hundredth. All right, at the very end of the last lesson, all right, we saw that maybe rounding to the nearest hundredth is necessary sometimes. And if you can remember what it is, you'll be able to answer that question. If you don't, I'll try to readdress this question at the end of this lesson. Okay, divide by decimals. When dividing by decimals, you must change the divisor into a whole number. To do this, you multiply both the divisor and the dividend by the same number, same power of 10, then divide as with whole numbers. Now, that is going to be what the idea is. I'm going to show you a different way. Okay, I'm going to be calling it undoing our wubbas, and wubbas spelled backwards is ubwas. So that's what we're going to be doing, is we're going to be doing ubwas today. Okay. Example 1 here. Now look. They're going to find 1.71 divided by 0.9. All right. They estimate that 2 divided by 1 is 2. Okay. Now here's what they do. They change 0.9. They set up the problem, and when they put it in here, they change 0.9 to 9 by doing this little move here. Okay. Okay. So whatever you do to the outside number, you must do to the inside number. Whatever you do to the divisor, you must do to the dividend. Okay? All right. Then once we do that, we place the decimal point, right? The new decimal point is here, so we go up here, we place the decimal point, a nice big decimal point, and then they divide as normal. Okay? Let me make that go away. All right. Now, once they do that, you just divide as normal. Once you change this this divisor, once you change the divisor to a whole number and done whatever you've done to the divisor also that you do to the dividend, once you've done all that, you just divide as normal. Now remember that this is the divisor, this is the dividend, right? Dividend. I spelled it wrong one time with an N instead of a D. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next one. My goodness, has it got to do that the whole time? No, it sure does. All right. Find 2.64 divided by 0.6. All right. We could fill in this estimate, but I'm not a big estimate fan. You know that on dividing. I guess we can real quick. I would estimate 3 divided by 6, right? Like 3 divided by 0.6. Okay, that'd be 6 divided by 30, and that would be 5. Okay. I don't know what they would have done here. I guess they would have done something else. I don't know. Again, I don't like the way that they do their rounding here. Okay, anyway, it's not even rounding. All right. They got 0.6 divided into 2.64. They multiply 0.65. Well, you got to move the decimal over 1. And that you do that by multiplying by 10. And whatever you do to the inside, you must do to the outside. And that's when this gets moved over. And you multiply the dividend by the same power of 10. All right? All right? Then it says, now that we've done all this, we place this is where the new decimal is. Bring the decimal point up, just like we always do. And divide us with normal whole numbers. 6 goes into 2, none. Here, I'll put a little 0 here. I don't like the way this lines up. 6 goes into 26, what? 4 times for 24. All right, you got 24 because you bring this 4 down. And again, you got the decimal goes here. 24, and that's 0. I don't like the way the box is lined up. Okay, so 2.64 divided by 0.6 is 4.4. And the way I did it, where my estimate was, it came up with 5, which I was close. But I don't know if you can do that in your head like that. Okay, they would have probably done something like, they'd round this to 3, divided by 1 equals 3. And I guess that's okay. I guess, okay? I don't know. Again, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't compare for reasonableness. What I would do is I would do my check, right? And you check by multiplying 4.4 by 6, right? Because now our new divisor is 6, right? And our quotient is 4.4. 4 carry the 1. Oh, 2. Sorry, that's 26. I got 1. Got to give it 1. And look, check. That's how you check your answer. Okay? Because now 26.4 was our dividend. Excellent. Okay? That's how I do it. I don't check for reasonableness. I don't think that's necessary. I think what you should do is you should check to see if your answer is correct. Okay. Zeros in the quotient and dividend. Okay? Line up the numbers by place value as you divide. Annex zeros in the quotient in order to keep digits with the correct place value. Annex zeros in the dividend to continue dividing after the decimal point. Okay, we know that part, but the part that they're trying to show you is, what did I do? Yeah, let me just do this, bring this down, all right. What they did here is they just wanted to show you that when they set this up, let me show you, I'm going to set this up real quick, right? 0.4 divided into 52. Okay, remember there's a decimal here, always to the far right of the number if it's a whole number. Right, we had to do the ubwa, right? We'll move it over. That's a 0, but your decimal's here now, so you got to bring your decimal point up from here. Okay, that's what they did here. It's just what they were showing you here. It's the same idea. They multiplied both things by 10, and that's all that we did here. All right, they did the math for us, and they came up with that 4 divides in 520, 130 times. So 52 divided by 0.4 is 130. Okay. Now, I see what they also wanted to show. Here, let me show what they were also talking about. Okay, so let me see if can I move this? Yeah, I'll unlock this and then move this. Okay. Let me just do something here. Okay, so they have this 0.4 divided into 52. All right. They have to move. We have to do our ubwas. All right. Put it here. Annex a 0, and we bring the dot straight up. I mean the decimal straight up. 4 divides into 5 one time. Okay. For 1. Bring down the 2. 4 divides into 12 3 times for 12, and that's a 0. Now, we're not done yet because we haven't gotten to our decimal. Okay? And to do that, you just annex a 0. Okay? Also what you could do is when you bring the 0 down, what times 4 equals 0? 0 times 4 equals 0. And that gives us our n. All you need to really also do is just think about is you must annex zeros as needed to get to your decimal place. Okay, we talked about that in our last lesson a little bit, but not really too hard. This one they wanted to just make sure you see it a little bit more clearly. All right, let's go down to number 4 here. This time they just they had to move the decimal 2 places. Okay, and if you notice, they bring up the decimal. They had to multiply by 100, right? They just gave it 2 ubwas, 2 ubwas, 1, 2. All right. In class, we'll talk more about ubwas. All right. I know mine's a mess over here. Okay. But the only reason why it's a mess is because this is what they did over here. Place the decimal point. 18 cannot go into 9, which is why they came up with 0. And 18 goes into 90 5 times. Excuse me. I'm over here hiccuping or something. All right, that's it. Let's move on. Number 5. All right, they got 11.2 divided by 0.07. What do we got to multiply 0.07 by to make it a whole number? We have to multiply by 100. Okay, and that lets us move our decimal over 2 places. Whatever you do to the inside, you must do to the outside. All right, bring the decimal up and just divide as normal. 7 goes into 1 0 times. All right, 7 goes into 11 what? 1 time? It's 32. Okay, 7 goes into what? How many times does 7 go into 30? 32 what? 4 times for 28? Bring down to 0, 4, bring down to 0. That's 40. All right, now we're up to 40. 7 goes into 40 how many times? 5 for 35. And then all of a sudden, from about here on out, you're going to start getting a repeating number at somewhere along the way. All right, here, I'll just show you what it looks like. Annex 0, 35, 5, bring down to 0. Okay, this is going to be 7 for 49. And then it's going to repeat. Oh, no, not quite yet. This is going to be 1, 7, 30, 0, bring it down. This will be 4, 28, 2, 0, bring it down. Sevens have a repeating decimal. All right, 20. That is, what is that? 2 times for 14. This becomes a 6, 0, and it just continues on and on and on. Okay, and it will. And I don't want to keep doing anymore because it's bleeding into my work that I really want to show you. Okay, they just really wanted to show you what you needed to do. All right, let's go ahead and do these practice problems. I'm going to scroll this down, extend the page a little bit, bring up the things. All right. They want to know what 56 divided by 0.014 looks like. Oh boy, I guess I didn't put in my ABCs. Did I not? Did I mess that up? Here, let me pause. Okay, sorry about that. Here's ABC. It was on a page that was I missed. I apologize. All right. So let's go ahead and do A. 54.4 divided by 1.7. Set up the problem. 1.7 divided into 54.4. Okay. You got to undo the wubba. Or as my students like to call it, ubwas. All right. 17 goes into 54. How many times? Well, gee whiz, I don't know. Let's think about it. 1 is 17. 2 is 34. 3 is 51. So I guess it's 3. If you don't know that right off the top of your head, like I can do it, remember what I have you do that in lesson, what was it? Lesson 5, I think it was. I made you write out your multiplications of the divisor. Don't be afraid to do that here. And even if you only go up to 54, right? 17 plus 17, just to show you what 34 plus 17, 51, that's 1, 2, 3. And I just stopped there once I got to that point. All right. Bring down the 4, 34, look, it goes 2 times. 0. Excellent. So 1.7 divides into 54.4, 32 times. That's our answer. To do our check, to show you what the check would look like. All right. You just take 32 and times it by this number, 1.7, the original divisor. Okay. You multiply it by the original divisor. 7 times 2 is 14, carry the 1. 7 times 3 is 21, plus 1 is 22. Right? 0, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 1. Give yourself an ubwa, a wubba. All right, and it's 34.4. Excellent. That means our work checks out. All right, let's move on to the next problem. The next problem is this one. Think I can move it down here? Excellent. All right. Is 8.424 divided by 0.36. Okay, so we set up our problem. 0.36 divided into 8.43. Whoop. 8.424. Okay, we gotta remove our wubbas. All right, undo our wubbas. Bring our decimal straight on up. Whatever you do to the outside number, you must do to the inside number. Remember that. Now 36 cannot go into 8, but 36 can go into 84. Looks like it'll go in there twice. This is 72. And this is going to be 12. 122. And then, so 72 plus 36 is what? 108. Yeah. That's going to be 108. Extend my page just a little bit so I don't go writing down too far. 1, 12 from 8 is what? 4. Bring down to 4. And I would say that's probably going to be 4 times because you take 108, add 36 to it, and you're going to get 4, carry the 1, 144. So that's going to be 4, 144. Excellent. All right, and we check our work. Check. We always check our work. 23.4 times 0.36. 4, carry the 2, that's 18, 20, carry the 2, that's 12, 13, 14, 0.
Will the following teachers please report to room 2?
Happens a lot, I apologize about that. Okay, 3 times 4 is 12, carry the 1. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10, 0, carry the 1. And 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 4, 2, 4, 8, 1, and 2. That equals 3. So we got to give our answer 3 wubbas. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. 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 It's all working out the way we want it to. Okay. How annoying that is. All right. I'll get you the other number. Bring this down. Extend the page. Bow. Maybe even one more, just so I don't have to do it again. Then I have 0.007 divided into 0.0063. Now, well, whatever. Here, let's just do the work. All right, we got to undo 3 wubbas.
Will the following teachers please report?
Okay, so we had to multiply the outside number by 100, so we have to multiply by 1,000. We have to give this 3, we have to undo 3 wubbas. Okay, so now let's rewrite this so that it looks nice. I have 7 divided into 6.3. Now look, I rewrote it so it's nice and pretty, so I don't have all this garbage here. Okay, 7 goes into 7 goes into 6 0 times, but 7 does go into 63 9 times. So that's 63. All right, and then if you come over here and you multiply. Now here's your check. You got 0.9 times 0.0. Whoop, let me do that better. And 0.007 times 0.9. You know what? Let me put it quotient. Okay. So to do our check, we take our quotient and we multiply it by our divisor. 7 times 9 is 63. Okay, the rest are 0, so I'm going to stop. I'm not going to even multiply the rest of it. Okay, I have 1, I have 3. That means we have to give a total of 4 wubbas. 1, 2, 3, 4. And X zeros is needed. And look, it equals our dividend. Excellent. Good stuff. Okay, let me rearrange my. To finish up, all right, we're on D. All right, I got 5.6 divided by 0.014. We're going to set up the problem real quick. 0.014. I knew that was going to happen. Divided into 5.6. Okay, now the big thing here is to make sure you annex zeros in empty ubwas, right? When you're moving this over, so we have to do 1, 2, 3. Right, so that means we got to do 3 in here. 1, 2, 3. Bring up the decimal. I would just go ahead and rewrite it. Okay, and then that way and I'd still put the decimal, and then that way all this extra work that you've done is out of the way, because it's going to get messy. You know how it works. All right, 14 divides into 56. Let me see, 1, 2, is it going 3 times? 3 times 4 is what, 12? Carry the 1, 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. That's 40 what? What did I say, 42? I don't think that's enough, is it? What is 4 times 4 is 16, carry the 1, 4 times 1 is 4 plus 1 is 5, so it goes in 4 times, 56. All right, and it's done. Now, I still got to fill in these points here. Still have to fill in the gaps between the 4 and the decimal. So you got to make sure you keep track of that really well. All right, and to check our work, we take 400, check, 400, and multiply it by 0.014. 0016, annex to 0 because you're in this place. 004, you're pretty much done. 0065, all right, and this gets 3 wubbas. 1, 2, 3, 5.6. It's what our dividend was. Okay. All right. Let me continue on. Oh. I just want that one. Why can't one want to give me that one? Okay, gotta pause. Okay, so our last two is E and F. We got 6.24 divided by 200. I wonder if that looks okay. So you got 200 divided into 6.24. Right, just bring the decimal up. 200 cannot go into 6. 200 cannot go into 2. I mean 62, but 200 can go into 600. 3 times 600. Right, 24. Got to annex a 0. 2 can go into 241 time. 200. Right. Or 0. Annex a 0. Bring down the 0, and that goes 2 times. 400. Excellent. Then do our quick check. All right. You take 0.312 multiplied by 200. Right, we just bring them down these 2 zeros and multiply. 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 3 is 6. Right, we got to give it its wubbas. It needs 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ta-da! And look, it's our dividend. All right. Extend the page if I can find it. Okay, we'll do it one more time. All right, last one. 0.4 divided by 25. So that's the problem. 25 divided by 0.4. Right? Don't need to do anything. Just bring the decimal straight up. 25 does not go into 4, so you got to give it a 0. That's why it's important that we put these zeros. Annex a 0. 25 does go into 41 times. 25. What is that? 15. 3. Right? Okay. Annex a 0. Bring it down. 25 does go into 150 though. Let me see, 6 times. 150. Excellent. And then we do our check. 0.016 times 25. 0 carry the 3, that's 8. 0, 2 carry the 1, that's 3. 0, 0 carry the 1, 4. Give it 3. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Very good. All right, that concludes this lesson. All right, let me find the homework. Homework is 245, 246, all, unless I stated otherwise. Okay? All right, that concludes this lesson and the end of dealing with decimals. Give yourself a round of applause, and there will be a test on everything.